Welcome to Food for Thought. Today, a very exciting guest, game developer, artist, and actually a scholar of epistemology. I'm very impressed. We are talking about Martin's new project, the game called Edenauts. Here is the web page of the game, and it's an odyssey of wisdom. Please check it out. The link to the game below. So, Martin, please tell me about your game.
I'm working on an epistemic story game called Edenauts. It's also sort of a story of our times, and you get into and you're a character collecting a community and making a community around it. This is why I also Edenaut the people. So on Instagram, I make everyone an Edenaut character, which I then could use in the game also.
I can see from here the planet is heat and people trying to navigate the ship, right?
Yes, exactly. So you walk on a mountain and you see that meteorites coming up there to the Earth, but on the mountain you meet some guy who is an AI engineer, and he's searching for an AI brand which stands down in the valley into a spaceship. There is a special neural AI in a rocket, and they try to get off the planet through the spaceship, and they sneak in, and the spaceship takes off with them. But there is a problem because they didn't calibrate their weight. Then the spaceship is broken itself. So the meteorite hits a spaceship and the neural brain is damaged. And so you're now in with a crew and need to figure out what to do. And as the ship is broken, you land on the moon and you need to repair the spaceship, the brain. And yeah, there are some game mechanics to that. There are two phases. In the first one, you, in a survival mode, repair the brain of the network along with the story. And in the second part, we come to that, you can develop a philosophy through that. And yeah, that's the first element. So it has some cultural aspects like the space race and the problems we have on Earth through the meteorites. And we always rely on technology to save our ass. And yeah, then the technology gets broken down, so we need to get real again and use our own power to repair the spaceship. That's basically the beginning of the story in Edenauts, and you're going with a crew of 25 people to repair the brain of the spaceship. With the story, and what's a big part of the game, it's an epistemic story about genetic epistemology, and the Jean Piaget, a Swiss psychologist, and was the founder of genetic epistemology. And the basic idea on that is, like, if you say something and I don't agree with you, I'm not taking this statement seriously. I ask you how you get to this idea. And this will, his ideas will drive the story.
I really like what you did with the explosions here.
To understand what's on the landing page here, it's first really important to understand the philosophy behind it. So for this, I would move to the philosophical part first to explain show the idea. So the game has the two elements I'm thinking a lot about. First, the implementation, the hands-on doing, and secondly, the philosophy behind it. And I try to reason up everything from that philosophy, how I create the game. And if we go there, I start here. And this is about starting with the hierarchy of perception. So when I go next to a field with you, I say this is a field. I don't say we are in Austria, we are in Europe. That makes no sense. And I also don't say this is a piece of grass, this is a piece of grass, and so on. So this makes no sense. So we are, our perception is sort of hierarchically, and on the one side we can zoom in the microcosmos, and on the one hand we can zoom out on the macrocosmos. So we are basically in the middle, and from that our perception expands. And this is why this experiment is here, that this misconception. And yeah, this is a basic thing for everything that builds on it. As a talk artist, I also make like visuals to represent this this hierarchy. And yeah, what I said before about Piaget's ideas, it's like, don't take the front statement seriously. If one tells something you disagree with, you can ask how somebody gets to this conclusion, and then find out what is his reasoning, because people mostly have a very good reasoning behind what they're saying. And you can find that out and have a better conversation and learn something. And yeah, and you can then clearer pinpoint your questions. So yeah, there's some basic ideas. You may see this, and in some sense, what I wanted to represent here in this visual is that sort of we perceive what we are. So in some sense, we have experiences, like raw experiences, the roots, and they sum up and abstract out also to a philosophy. And from that point, we look at the world in a focused session. Yeah, not every time, but sometimes. And we can see, I can look on the screen, and I see the screen as a whole, as we said before. This is a good representation when I say screen. And then I can look at the details, like there is a button on the screen, and I can go more into detail.
It also looks like a projection that is rooted in the seer behind our eyes, so in us, and we project into the world, so it grows out of our own perception. That's what I see here.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. For example, when you look out the window, like you can be an electrician and you see different things than somebody who has different job, like a finance guy or an economic guy may see different things than electricians. The electricians see the lights, and maybe the lights which are not working, something like that. So what you are, you see in the world. This is also like, the invisible gorilla test. There it's also highlighted that you see what you aim at, sort of. You have some sort of focus point, and you cut out a lot of other things. Yeah, this is basically this idea. And as the roots are here also in a hierarchical fashion. Yeah, so we see who we are, and we have our biases in that. What I learned during my journey with Edenauts was about Piaget and the stages of development, which were very inspiring to me. For example, I have a child, and the child learns about the sensomotoric skills. It learns to use the body. So this is the first stage. And from that up builds ever more complex structures on that. until it gets to the formal operational stage. And yeah, Piaget was interested in that because children made similar mistakes, and he thought it's not about the children who are failures, it's about the cognitive development, and because people at different ages made different kinds of mistakes when they approach something. And so he wanted to find out more about that when they make those mistakes. And yeah, here is also given a rough time scale. But here is where I disagreed with Piaget, or this visual, that it's from the birth to 2 years, to 2 years to 7 years, 7 to 11 years, and 12 and up. But I see it more as whenever you learn something, you start with the sensomotorical stage and you build up. So, for example, if I would learn now about economics, I build up first from the sensomotorical stage. And why do I do this? Why I'm not in the formal stage? I know how to use my body, aren't I? But yes, in somewhat yes, but in somewhat I can be more precise in that. For example, I'm trying to playing cards, and I'm trying to make the card spin. Okay, I'm not really good at it now. I can do it a little bit. And if I ask you to do this, you're not be able to do this at the beginning. So somewhat you're also get back to the sensomotorical stage in some sense. It's not for with every skill, but for some. And maybe when you learn something, you may start at the pre-operational stage until the formal operational stage. Yeah, and I seen those stages in different other elements. For example, I watched Dragon Ball Z, and here is also sort of a stage theory. It was very interesting to me, the stage theory, because it gives you reference points. The value is not that it's from these exact years and you know what to do, but it gives the stages, just that it's stages. You can build stages of anything. Just look about the progress and try to formulate that, articulate that, different stages. But they give you reference points. So the value in that whole thing is that they give you a reference point where you are and where you can go. So you can, for example, when you learn something, you may realize in this part what you learn, you're at the concrete operational stage. So it's a reference point, and that's the value for me.
Does that mean your game also goes through stages of development? It has a
Yes,
learning
exactly.
at the beginner stage. How many stages are there, and will they grow?
There are 4 stages in Piaget's sense until they have the formal operational stage. And beginning always with the real world experiences, the embodied experiences, because everything builds on that, and we will go into detail for that also. Yeah, so I also like this inspiration, and here is a model of Robert Kagan. It's only 3 stages shown here. And where many people stuck at is the socialized mind. So my relationships, I follow the rules. They have a big thought about those questions about relationships, and this takes up a lot of cognitive space. And I want to push them in the self-offering mind. I have an identity. I make choices. I'm a person. Yeah. It's also part of my own development. And here it's described as the self-offering mind, and where I want to make a distinction to school and like you want to get a degree. I want to view this differently, not to get a degree, but to get into self-offering mind. And how you get into self-offering mind, like it says, if you reflect on your experiences, you may write it down, and over time, when you do that, you will find patterns in that. For example, what I try to do, I try also with the asking of the talents. What is your weirdest talent? I want to find a talent, and with this talent, around that you can build a self-offering mind. So you write things down where you see these experiences in the world, where you act out your talents, and over time, when you write something down, you will see this more and more, where this picture comes in again. Because the more you will write it down, the more you see the patterns around that. And so you get more pattern seeking around your reflections on your experiences. And in this process, you learn to be your own teacher in some ways. And then, you can expand from that. You can take your talent as a guiding star with the self-offering mind to then develop further.
Why did you place Pokemons beside the self-transforming mind? It was really interesting, like self-transforming mind, and then boom, Pokemons. So does it mean with your mind you can become any different Pokemon you want? Oh my god, there's like
I wanted to represent this idea. I hold many identities, and
Mhm.
Tito, it's called Tito.
Yeah.
He can be anyone.
Oh
So
yeah, remember. Actually, in a movie, you can only see them by the eyes. And so look, the Tito always was wearing glasses because he couldn't become anyone. But if you will like look into his eyes, he has like this weird eyes.
yeah, this was the idea of Tito, and maybe if you can place Evoli, maybe I have an identity is like going from Evoli to getting one identity, and when you have an identity, you sort of throw out a lot of experiences you can had, but you get value through having an identity. Is this clear? As Evoli, you can be anything, but you only can be anything. You're not something. And so with the self-offering mind, you then can have an identity and be someone. And always what's coming along with having an identity, where you say, this is my fixed identity, or for now, then you may have also people that don't like this identity.
I really love how you said, "This is my fixed identity for now." It's fixed, but for now, like it's like a little bit of oxymoron, but I love it. I get the idea behind it.
Yeah. Let's say a more strong identity, and you also get it when you have in business, you have a positioning. And there was a book saying, when you have a position, you only can have a position when somebody dislikes it. So the requirement for a positioning is that somebody, at least one person, don't like it. Then you have a positioning, because then you're standing for one side. And if you have an identity, you stand for a side and not for other sides. Yes, that is sort of the identity thing. Yeah, and the Edenauts should help people from the socialized mind to the self-offering mind through their interactions with the broken spaceship brain and some controls for tracking own goals and own talents and experiences, and reflecting on that to get into this stage, to then see the patterns and be your own teacher.
The Edenauts will develop as they play the game, even in their real life. Is that the idea behind it?
Yes, so the game is strongly connected to the real life and real life experiences and real life goals. And so if you progress in the real life, you also make progress in the game. And you need to be very active for that in the survival mode to survive. So the whole crew needs to be very engaged in that to survive the survival mode and come to the next game part, the second part. Yeah. This is about the hierarchy of perception. We before told we start from the middle. Our perception starts from the middle, and we had the idea of Plato and Aristotle. Plato points up. The ideas come from the top. It's the abstractions. It's the ideas, and Aristotle points down, and so the ideas come from the bottom up. And we want to bridge the gap to that, from the bottom to the up, because I think, as we see in Piaget's theory, like before, and what we also would contribute to animals, they're instinctive. We are embodied. Our cognitive structure is just embodied. So we start from Aristotle with the real world experiences and abstract out. And this is a bit in conflict with this view that our perception expands from the middle. For example, if you make a mind map about something, you're going down, you get more specific and expand around the center theme of the mind map. But you can also go up in a sense of your philosophy. What are your values? What is your philosophy? What are core ideas which you act upon in the world? And so this is also the expansion of the consciousness, the conscious and the unconscious. So both up and down is the unconscious. Because people act out in the world, but they have never thought about their values or their philosophy, but they still can act out in the world. But they have an implicit philosophy. Yeah,
It
and
looks like the iceberg model as well.
Yeah, we have it over there, here also.
Oh, you have the iceberg model? Oh my god!
Yeah,
Awesome.
for sure. What was very interesting to me also during my journey with Edenauts, I went to the FH Salzburg again, and I did a research project about AI. It was 2016, I think. I played with early image generation, and what I learned there, this was very interesting to me, that you have like a neural network, and I wanted to train a neural network to play ping pong with myself, like to have a game where I can play ping pong with moving my hands. And so I got a model which was already trained, but I could remove the later layers. For example, this is layer 1, this is layer 2, this is layer 3. And here is a car, but I didn't need cars. I needed myself. And so I removed what I figured out I can do. I removed those layers, but I can still use this layer. These are edges and corners, and I can still use it. And I can use a pre-trained model on that. And so I removed some deeper layers and tried with my own images to train the neural network. And yeah, it's really funny to see that also here. the deeper the layer, the more it builds up the structures. For example, you have edges and corners, and it builds up, for example, to a tire, and then the whole thing builds up to a whole car. And somewhat this is also how we learn. We have simple elements, and then make the bigger picture out of it. That was very inspiring to relate human learning to AI learning, and that there are some commonalities in that. So this is also the building up of the simple sensomotoric elements to ever more formal stages. Yeah, here now come together 3 different experiences of mine: the AI experience, the interest in the hierarchical schema, and also what at the same time I did, I made a course. It was the Big History Project. Maybe you know it. It's a course about from the Big Bang till now. And I was studying Piaget's model and learned about this course. So I related the Piaget's cognitive stages to the cognitive stages of the universe. So I did like the universe was a person, and then I applied Piaget's model on it, and I tried to relate it. And it's somehow, because it's just stages, so I can define it how I want. I tried to define it for the universe. Yeah, this was very inspiring. For example, for the sensomotorical stage, there is some stuff in the universe that gets attracted to each other, and then more complex life is produced through that. Then we have like DNA, which is also sort of transforms itself and also can develop the world how it is. And then we have humans, and we have ideas, and we can now exchange ideas, and the things can develop. So this was very concrete, operational. And now we build on AI systems where we try to mathematically represent the world, in a box, in a mathematical box, to represent the world.
The way we are built, we have our own specific framework of perceiving the world. And this is the roots. So if our framework, or even your framework of perceiving reality, is stages, you can apply it to anything. You can apply it to ideas, you can apply it to universe and the history from Big Bang till now as well. Like you can actually, like, this is your framework. And it literally takes roots within you and goes outward. I like it.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for me. And it's very natural. What I like about this, it's very natural. Yeah, and what you said about our projections in the world, it's also sort of this idea of, let's say we have innovations, but are those innovations always innovations, or are we already this? we have the electrical grid, and we have the transport systems, and the technical systems to transport information, and like we are that already. We didn't make these innovations, we just did what we are. It's also the embodiment form.
Yeah. It takes roots from the seer behind our eyes. So whoever is behind our eyes projecting into the world. And the things we create, the networks, electrical networks, road systems, and stuff like that, we are doing that, and the ideas come from from us. I'm trying to correlate the map you're showing with the actual game. So
Yeah.
so far,
Um,
what I came to is the game itself is in stages, and there is a story of the meteorites and people getting into predicament and then into survival mode, and then they have to solve all the problems and go and go and go, and as they go through stages of the game, they will develop skills which are also applicable in our actual world. So there will be like some wisdom and correlations kind of offered to people, right?
yes,
Um,
because Jean Piaget,
mhm.
that I showed you before, is also a main NPC character in the game. So he will describe something about genetic epistemology and how we construct our worldview. And then also in the game, the space rocket Eden, uh, because people have some troubles repairing it, and after his new insights, they gain more knowledge to repair the brain of the ship. So he describes this
Oh,
also.
okay.
So
So it's problem solving mechanisms, or recognizing the problem and the stages to solve the problem, which is added
yeah,
to the game.
yes,
Very
exactly.
nice.
When we move on, another really important idea is the idea of the recursion, the thing in itself. For example, we have here the mirror, or it's a drawing. We have the chips shipping ships. We have it also in programming, the concept of recursion. And yeah, we have also shown it here, like the things happen in a recursive fashion. And also from a linguistic point, we can talk what is more important. Is it loving or love loving? Is it talking or talk about talking? Or read about reading or just reading? So what's more important? Uh, and especially for learning, uh, it's important to learn how to learn, because it makes everything you experience to some sort of learning out of the world. And this is why the game is connected to the real world so much, to think about that also in the great game and reflect on that, and then see more patterns of that. You And also, if you abstract out the hierarchy we had, if I make an abstraction of that, what is there? You have a differentiation and the abstraction. And like I have a deer, and when you abstract out, it's something happens. And through a life, your structure adjusts through differentiation and abstraction. Piaget also called it assimilation and accommodation. And yeah, something happens through time. So this is then the abstractions. I talk a lot about abstractions here because we talk now a lot about the hierarchy, but we are humans.
Mhm.
We are motivated to do something. Everyone on Earth wants to progress on something. Uh, People want more money. They want better relationships. They want better education. Everybody wants something in this sense.
Yeah.
So we now need to introduce to the idea of the hierarchy and the stages the motivation and the journey through that. So there is one piece of that, the short-term motivation and behaviorism. And
Mhm.
yeah, here we have the Skinner box, and I think they tried it first. The mouse can press the lever for food, and it worked well, but not for so long. then he tried out to only sometimes when he pressed the lever, food will go there. So he's not sure if he presses the lever that food will come out. And yeah, this is basically the simplest idea of behaviorism. Also, you have it in a lot of other domains now. For example, if you're in the casino, you have also the same mechanism. And also, if you use TikTok, what you often get, you get very cool videos, and then sometimes you get not so cool videos, and you don't like them so much. And this is when you don't get food. And then you scroll further, and you're constantly engaged in a short-term motivational loop. And from that, this is very strong. We are so short-term thinking. Yeah, we want stuff now, and we are also very trained to that. That we can get everything now. We can get stimulation now. I go on social media, and I don't need to think about my life. So this contradicts to the reflexive approach I want to make. So I also had to introduce some behavioristic ideas. And there is Yukai Chao. He analyzed games, and he found out the motivational drivers of humans. And these are 8. For example, epic meaning is the higher meaning. For example, the Fridays for Future movement has the epic meaning. They want to save the planet. Then you have, for example, empowerment. It's when I help you, for example, as a teacher, I help you to better handle your life. This is not more empowerment. You have more education and get a better job or something. Or it's also creativity, when you can express yourself. Maybe you know the game Farmville. Do you know that?
Yeah, I have seen it.
On one hand, you can build up your farm, but what you also can do is, like, with the different colors of the single pieces, you can make art. You can use it to organize it in a way that creates some art, some image, for example, some Super Mario or something. And that's also the empowerment, the creativity. There is more to it.
Oh, you can place the objects on the map of the farm wheel, so it creates an image and
Yes.
satisfying. Okay, I get it. But like getting your dopamine and also having a creative outlet. I don't know if you heard about Paul Conti's theory. He talked about it on Andrew Huberman podcast. He had a four episodes a podcast on positive psychology and mental well-being. And so he talked, we have basically aggressive drive or assertive drive as well. We have pleasure-seeking drive. And we also have a generative drive. So generative drive, that's the thing that would kind of like makes us create stuff. Like spending a lot of time in order to develop good relationship with people, to create an art piece, maybe a game as well, and the map. Like a generative drive is if it's a predominant drive in people achieve a lot of things, basically.
Yeah.
Like one of the most good drives to develop. So I think that one is kind of interesting to consider as well.
Yeah. The creation and the self-expression and the self-autonomy. Yeah. Yeah, maybe
Avoidance. Oh my God.
avoidance. We humans are not made to grow. We humans are made to survive. And this is a very damn strong drive for us to do something. we want to avoid bad stuff.
Mm.
We don't want good stuff, we want to avoid bad stuff. Social influence. And through this you can develop, you can look at the system through these drives and see where the system is not well planned. Yeah, what elements you can add or remove even. So I found this motivational
Excellent.
guide very useful, because at the beginning of when I tried to implement the game, I tried to make it available for everyone. Every feature should be available. But then I found out this is not good. Players have to play to unlock the features. So they unlock even more
Mm-hmm.
and more elements of the game. So this is motivating to do that. For example, I can tell you the avoidance.
Okay.
Let's say you're going to an elevator which
Mhm.
closes. You're 10 meters next to an elevator where you want to go up and it closes. You may start to run. So this is a motivating element because you start to run.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know that, you can look at the world through this model and see where are you motivated at what point and what driver motivates you.
Okay, so you're basically discovering yourself.
Yes, yes. Through this and what
Very good.
motivates you. Yeah.
Excellent.
And yeah, a lot of game mechanics are built around these different drivers. Also, I'm sure you got any app where you got the streak design. For example, you had 3 days of being online. For example, with Duolingo,
Mm-hmm.
learning languages, you're online for
Yeah.
10 days now. You want to avoid being not coming online the next day. This is a motivational driver. And when you have 100 days, and it even gets bigger, the drive to not come online.
Oh, it accumulates. The more
Yeah,
progress you receive, the more it accumulates. Because if you miss one day, all the other 100 days do not matter. like
yeah.
Like you
Exactly.
basically all the knowledge you got from learning a language in Duolingo, they're not sponsors, by the way, but like all the knowledge you gain is completely gone if you do not come this one day.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
This is about short-term motivation. The long-term motivation is more about your whole experiences. Let's say you have 1 quadrillion experiences in your life, and one of them is the worst experience. Maybe when I say this, you may come up with one worst experience, and I think it's very important to mention the concept of duality here. If you always just fine your whole life, and you try to make the opposite of that, then you will not get so far. Then if you had a really bad experience, this may be a trauma or something, and going on from this experience, you can build up a great character. And when it doesn't shut you down, then you can use this bad experience to grow your character out of it. And this is the long-term motivational driver to overcome it's very logical to, if you live a life and you have one biggest problem, to overcome that one biggest problem first, to avoid that. So your worst experience is the first to start. To avoid that. And for me, I hated learning, and this was like my worst experiences in school. Maybe it's not. Others would say this is not really a bad experience, but it was the worst for me. To how learning happened in school. And so I see all of that when I hated school for 20 years build up my motivation to now project that forward constructively into Edenauts and put all this motivation in Edenauts. And on the one hand, I solved this problem for myself, and on the other hand, I create something. And maybe others enjoy it too, because a lot of people didn't like school, I guess. Yeah, that's for the long-term motivation. And yeah, Edenauts want to bring people more on the long-term motivational side. And
Okay, so from immediate reward seeking to goal orientation.
yes, exactly. And this starts with the talents, and to drive these talents. And yeah, as Jordan Peterson has the model, I don't know where he actually got it from point A to point B, and you plan a sequence. Also, point A in his terms was the unbearable present, and point B the ideal future. And you plan towards an ideal future. For example, I want to get this degree, or I want to go to the toilet now. I plan a sequence of behavior, and if I go out and go to my toilet and it works, I get to point B, and it is positive, and it's all fine. But if somebody catches me out there and I don't get to the toilet, I have an obstacle, and I need to get around that, or learn myself around that to get to point B.
The unbearable present. I get it.
Yeah, it's point A is the unbearable present, and B the ideal future. And
If
this
you
is
cannot get to the ideal future, you have no choice but to remain in the unbearable present.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, makes
Or
sense.
find new ways around the obstacle. You choose a new sequence to get to point B.
Okay.
And everyone does that all the time in their lives. Everyone wants something, in some sense: education, relationships, partner, money. Everybody wants something.
Okay. Long-term motivation. So when you arrive, when you go through all the hurdles from point A to point B, and you learn not to fall for short-term motivators, otherwise they will keep you pressing for the lever all the time to get like a little reward. And when you will learn to work a little bit harder to get to go to a long-term to achieve a long-term goal, we get to Voldemort, I see.
Yeah, it's the idea of the Voldemort. When you look Harry Potter, Voldemort is the name you shouldn't say out loud. And like, as we said before, the worst experience in your life, and for Harry Potter, it was like the death of the children. It marked him, and people told him not to talk about Lord Voldemort. And it's like in our society,
Yeah.
you always are expected to do something. If you have to do some formal education, you have to do this, you have to do this. This is your next step. This is like you should not talk about Voldemort. Like, what is really your intrinsic most negative experience? You may not look at, because you may repress it. The social surrounding lets you think that you should follow this and this path, and you shouldn't talk about Voldemort. But what Harry did in the film, like, he always confronted Voldemort. So he wants to look Voldemort in his eyes. And J.K. Rowling presented, like, there are the Muggles, and then there's Harry Potter, the magician. And when you look Harry Potter, you don't want to be the Muggles. You want to be Harry Potter. You want to be this person who confronts his most negative experiences and grow by that. So it made him strong during that process in confronting Voldemort. And you want to be Harry Potter. So basically, it's an idea placed in your mind that you want to be Harry Potter, and you want to grow by looking your biggest hurdles into the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big motivation and also the hero journey.
Okay, so I get it. Avoiding thinking about the long-term commitment like education. People, in order to avoid thinking about it, they will focus on getting a short-term immediate rewards, like video gaming, for example, instead of studying. But in a Voldemort model, you present the thing you're afraid of is just like this hard and tedious learning in order to get a degree in the university. And in order to do that, you will have to just drop the immediate rewards and go and study for the long term. Is it like Voldemort associated with the education?
in not in this in the way I want to explain it now. Like, yeah, we have the education, and yeah, this needs long-term motivation also. But the education is something that is expected from us from outside. You have to do this, and you have to do this, and people don't know you so much maybe, and they don't know your biggest pain. So when I say you should do this next course now, maybe it's not what's really important to you. It's just me telling you, don't talk about Voldemort. Don't name him. Don't name your biggest problem. You should do this course because it's good for you now. But you know yourself better, and you know what's your biggest pain, and you should also look that into the eye and grow by that. So you know better what you should learn than I know what I would recommend you to.
I get it. It's personal, basically. It's individual.
Yeah.
There are things that internal battles that each person is fighting, and the long-term motivation dives into these battles that every person fighting within them. And the society that is like, no, don't look into your internal battle with your internal enemy like Voldemort. You have to go and just like spend your time doing socially accepted things
Yes. Yeah.
from you. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and so this is repressed. The things you shouldn't talk about. And I guess
Okay.
this is an interpretation of Harry Potter, and that he stands up to that, going through a
Okay.
hero's journey.
Excellent. And the hero's journey here as well, I see. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I talked about all this in a hierarchical sense and then in a motivational sense. But isn't the world a network? Yes, it is. But for our conceptualization of the world, hierarchies are more, it's better understandable because we can categorize things more easily. And yeah, we build like a category theory about the world. Like I told you before, with when a child first time sees a cat and learns about cats the first time, and then the child has the schema of the cat. Then the child sees a dog and may say, this is a cat. And then, yeah, the child needs to restructure the schema and make an abstraction. For example, cat and dog, and it's animals. So the hierarchical structure is needed for learning, to group things, because we like to chunk knowledge into groups. For example, I like to chunk knowledge into visuals at the end. Like, this is a representation of some knowledge I have, of some complex knowledge, yeah, represented as an image of Voldemort. How I think about things.
Deep. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I actually, when I was a teenager, I had a sort of a journal where I would represent the unconscious battles as monsters, and then I would battle them
Mhm.
on the pages of my journal. So I would be the hero who battles my own monsters. That was
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, that reminded me of long-term motivation a little bit.
Yeah. Was it a journaling book?
Yeah, I mean, I was writing my own kind of journal, but through by using stickers from Mortal Kombat. And so I would like have a dude with 4 arms, like representing some sort of bad stuff, and I would be battling him. So I would have like some other stickers from like other things, and I would just glue it in a journaling book and like have illustrations. Those stickers represent illustrations and monsters and heroes, and then me going into the journaling fantasy realm and fighting the monsters and seeing that visually on paper,
Yeah.
written by me.
Mhm. Yeah,
So that was like,
that's amazing. That's like also the
I think a lot of
self-offering,
kids do that.
the self-offering stage where I want to
Ah,
help people in is the self-offering mind.
mhm,
Like, this is,
ah,
you do a lot of things from this stage. For example, if you make a diary,
mhm,
what you just told me, you're
mhm,
already doing what it's required to get into the stages. Also, for example, CEOs, they make a diary about what's on their bucket list and what ideas and how to. They're constantly writing their ideas down and then uh, putting their ideas again in the product or something, and
yeah.
reformulating them, readjusting them.
Like uh, in Star Trek, very often you can hear Captain's log. Today we did this and that. So journaling also was required for people who are leaders, captains, captains of the
Mhm.
ship, and that is very useful. It helps with the situational assessment a lot. So you will
Yeah.
assess your salience landscape, basically. You assess your surrounding, and then you are able to make a more thought through decisions.
Yeah, exactly. And your mind will find patterns in everything and going over stuff again,
Yeah.
and you will get your own teacher basically.
Boom.
This is how it will play out for
Mhm.
every day. There is this visualization, and every day you put
Mhm.
in some story of what you did, your experiences, and you will be helped by that. But also, when you do this as a crew, there will be
Mhm.
a lot of experiences coming together. And if you then abstract out those experiences, you get a higher level of hierarchy. And if you do this long enough, then
Mhm.
there should be built a sort of philosophy out of that. Because at one point, you get to a point where you will ask yourself how to distinct the world, how to categorize it, and this is then very philosophical element. How? I can also show you a character.
Piaget will be in every 25 people team?
Yes, exactly. So we have this overview. This is an old, the old prototype. Yeah, you have here your chosen character. You have some VIP friends. You have levels, and here you can see the crew overview with the 4 main NPC characters, and all others will be real world characters, and they play along with you to build up this hierarchy. And yeah, you can invite up to 25 people, and only together, if everyone is active, you can survive the first story part of the game. And what you do there, because we had the model of Jordan Peterson from A to B, you have a tracking calendar where you can track your daily actions. I've recorded a podcast, for example, and I made some task, and you gain experience by doing that.
Nice.
And with
right,
this,
I have recorded a 2-hour podcast. Then you get more.
yeah. Also, the time will have a dependency on the energy you gain. Yeah. And you can plan for tomorrow. What do you want to do tomorrow? What tasks?
Ooh, that's excellent. Finally.
Yeah, so you have the situation now and the tomorrow. We want to make it like small steps so people do it and then increase from there. And yeah, when you insert your experiences here, it will influence also the visualization part, because your experiences will also be in the visualization to make this a process of abstraction. And so the calendar, the tracking of the daily goals is connected to the visualization. And the visualization is the Eden's brain. And the more you build it up, the more repaired the Eden's brain will get. And if you can reach a certain point, you have quasi won the first stage. But everyone needs to participate to get to this point. And with the energy you get ongoing, you can use it to buy some boosts or some solar robots, gathering robots, or some missions, which will be part of the story.
It's like motivation through social pressure.
Yeah. You have here the crew updates, and you see what other people are doing. I can also go on somebody's profile. Maybe it works. And yeah, I can go on his calendar and see what he was doing.
And everybody can see everybody's progress?
Yes.
Okay. What does John Piaget does in the crew? Is he contributing?
Yes, at first when Eden breaks, he will be unconscious for a certain time. And this character will try to repair Eden, but he will not get far. But at some point in the story, Piaget also wakes up and is now he's the wise old man teaching Melvos how to improve on the repairing on the ship. And there is then some love story between those two, maybe, and some conflict between that. Yeah.
Nice. That's very cool. So the characters have their own life, basically. NPC characters. Backstory. Yeah.
Yes. For some player feedback, we will also some dialogue coming from the character, which will be individualized by ChatGPT or something. For example, when you input a task you've made, Piaget may talk to you something about that or something.
Cool. That's very cool.
It's-
I wanted to ask, the game premieres on the 20th of February. So how can people join the game?
The first thing what I do now is to grow a community on Instagram and get people interested and share some stories about that. And because what I learned during integration in the game, what big mistake I made and what you should do is grow a community from day 0. That is very important, and I didn't do that for a long time. So next to developing it, I want to focus on that and get people in and share some ideas, and so people already know some of Piaget's thoughts and how the game will look like and how it will be like to use, and then to have a good start when we launch.
The way to join your Instagram community would be, let me share the screen. This is the way to join. You click here. It will redirect you to the Instagram page, and there you can private message Martin, your weirdest talent. Your character will be created, basically. Another question, are you planning to have a place other than Instagram, like Discord community?
Yes, it's also planned. Also, I have some Discord, but there are not so many people online.
So people on Instagram interacting with each other under the posts?
Not so much yet. Just present to people. Yeah, it's not so interactive yet. But this is also I have a lot of buckets to do, to design, develop, engage with the community, make characters, and a lot of stuff around it. So it's pretty demanding on that. I try to do the most useful for now.
Okay, so basically, how can people help you? If people want to participate and help your project, what would be the way?
For sure, they can join first on Instagram. Second, I will sometimes post about stuff I need. For example, I'm in communication with somebody to help me with the front-end development. And yeah, maybe also somebody is interested in story development, to make storyboarding and to make it more specific how everything plays out. I always can be helped in with some Figma design skills. Yeah.
Excellent. So our time comes to an end. Hopefully we can do some other podcast catching up on the progress of the game. Martin, thank you so much for your presentation. People, please check out the links below. The Instagram, also the web page of the game. Hopefully in the future I will add the Discord link, the Discord server link. And yeah, please like, subscribe, support, share. Martin also has a YouTube channel. Also the link will be below. Check it out. And see you in the next Food for Thought. Bye. Ooh.